Welcome. My name is Dr. Gikadi Joyce. Welcome to Computer Studies Subject Methods. This course is BET3215, and my name is Dr. Gikadi. As I've said, I'll be taking you through this course, and we are going to begin our course by the first session, which is mainly introduction. Welcome, and let's move together through the session. At this moment, we begin by looking at what is this course, what is the focus. So our course is on ICT subject methods or teaching methods in computer studies. So we are using two key terms in the course. You note that ICT teaching methods or computer studies subject methods. Now, as part of our course, we want to begin by a highlight of the key objective. What are the goals? What must we achieve as we engage so that we have a bearing? So the first objective in this course is to get to understand what is the place of computer studies in the school curriculum. What is the place? What is the relevance of computer studies or ICT in the school curriculum? The second one, we want to understand the basic aspect in terms of what knowledge, skills, and attitudes are necessary in the fast-changing world. Because we know learning is about gaining knowledge, skills, and attitudes. So in reference to our subjects, which is computer studies and how we teach it, so what are the basic knowledge, skills, and attitudes that are necessary to the current world that's fast-changing? The next objective, as we build on, will tie on to analyze the implementation of school syllabus in terms of required preparation, lesson plan, schemes of work, and progress report, records of work. So that is called professional documentation. So that will be another topic, but here we are highlighting it as an objective. So the next objective is on methods and techniques in a computer-mediated learning environment. So how do we apply computers in teaching as we teach computers, because that's our subject. The other one is about resources and facilities available, computer-assisted instructions for computer-assisted instructions. That is both hardware, software, and other requirements in enabling a computing environment. So we are also looking at, or going to look at, how we design, organize, and manage a classroom that is related to computer studies as a subject. So that's the key focus of our course. So as I begin, I also want to remind you we are here because we are taking computer studies or ICT as a subject of our major area of specialization. So we are learning how to be computer teachers or computer studies teacher. Then how do we do that? And even before we see how we do that, that's the main content, we are going to look at areas that introduce us or that make us understand what we want to do. And that is why I'm going to start with what is the role of ICT in the society? What is the role of ICT in the society? That would mean we are teaching this subject called computer studies because it's relevant and it will make us leaders in enabling the society achieve that role. So one of the areas is about information systems and data processing. That's one of the roles that the computer studies we are learning to teach and that we shall teach it will serve. The other one is about personal computing. That's another key role. So we shall be unpacking that as part of our content. The other part or role that we want to do as we become experts in computer studies is to use it in science and research. So we also have process control as another role or importance that computer does in the society or ICT support. Education is another area of application, and that's where we also belong as teachers. So we shall dwell a bit more on application of education, I mean ICT in education. And now we are teaching subject methods. And alongside that, how we apply ICT as one of the roles. So we also apply computers in artificial intelligence. So we shall be looking at an example of that artificial intelligence maybe as we move, so that we understand the concept. But at this point we can move on, and we shall be expanding the aspect of artificial intelligence as one of the application areas of ICT. So as we get into details of the introduction, what is the importance of ICT in teaching and learning? What is the importance of ICT in teaching and learning? So that as we teach our subject, including computer studies, where will be ICT coming in? At this point, I want to say we have an overlap. We want to understand how to teach computer studies, but we also said one of our objectives is to be relevant to the times we live in. And we are living in the times where digital technology is part of education delivery. So what is the importance of IT or ICT in teaching and learning? So one part, as we use this ICT, it is going to enable us to use various ICT devices. I begin with the definition of what is this that we are calling ICT. So we are referring to all forms of digital technologies that are being used maybe to correct, process, transmit, and store, create, disseminate information or data in a particular activity, in a particular task. So it's a collective term. And note that the term ICT, whether we are using it or we shall be teaching its components, it's emerging, it's changing, it's evolving. So we are saying that more devices will come, more components will be introduced because it's rapidly evolving. So in this case then, do we think as teachers we need to start demarcating and integrating the old technology into the new technology as part of our educational environment? So we have the old technology like TV, we have television, radio, of course, the mobile phone or telephony system. But as we move on, we are getting other technologies like social media, distributed multimedia, etc. So artificial intelligence, like I said. So where are they coming in, or what are they going to be helping us to do better? So what we are saying, in short, we want to say that ICT will also be relevant in helping us to teach computer studies better as our key focus. So at this point, I want to note or to mention why do we teach ICT or computer studies? So now we are getting to a subject. So why do we need this subject as part of our curriculum? Then as we move on, we shall see how do we implement that. So why do we teach ICT or computer studies in schools today? This ICT is important because they are becoming a key resource in the society. They are being used to communicate, to create, disseminate, and manage information. And we are in information age. So we need to teach it so that to build that capacity. People can use ICT to communicate, to create, disseminate, store, or manage information. So that's one key importance, or why it is relevant. So we also need to include ICT in our curriculum, things like hardware, software, networking aspect, because it is part of our implementation in whatever we are doing in the institution. So it supports other systems. It could be cultural based or financial systems and other related parameters that make our institutions holistic. So we need to include ICT as a supporting component. ICT is also creating an opportunity for us to make an important contribution, to teaching and learning. As we said, it's becoming a key resource. So we are teaching it to enable others to be able to use it in teaching. So it's psychic. They studied, we are the teachers, we teach others to use it because it's part of our resource in education. So that makes it unique, especially when you're learning ICT as a teacher. It's different from when you learn it as a computer scientist who will go to practice in the field. It is also important to us because it's going to enable more effective systems to be integrated to other fields in education and beyond. It's going to improve effectiveness and enable systematic use. That means it is applicable across many industries. So we need then to teach it so that people are empowered. So in doing that, we have what we call requirements. What do we need to do? What are the aspects that we need to put in place, both in policy and practice? Policy means that we want to have an implementation framework, a guide. So in that case then, what are the requirements as per policy? Or in practice, what do we need to do? And practice is part of us, the teachers, and everybody who is working around is implementation. So one of the requirements is that ICT focus on offering new ways of teaching same things, or rather not using the word same, implementing the curriculum we want. So it focuses on new ways of doing things. Of course, this new way must be more effective. We are looking for progressive improvement. So it enables a focus on which every child or learner is supported in terms of their learning style, their preference. It is going to save time in terms of how we plan, how we administer an education system. So we need to note that when we are planning to use ICT or to implement it in the curriculum, we need to think about the policy framework need to ensure that there is that provision. We must think, how is this ICT we are teaching going to improve the learning styles and create more effectiveness and efficiency? Another requirement that ties to maybe also policy and practice is about how it offers a more comprehensive approach to assessment that reduces, in a way that reduces bureaucratic burden on teachers. So we need to think about that. So we are calling them requirements because they are issues that need to be addressed as we implement. So we need to offer or to provide a more comprehensive approach to assessment to reduce bureaucratic burden on teachers. That's another requirement. Another thing that we need to do is that ICT will also require us to have a focus on learning motivation, on thinking of how to engage learners and enabling them to develop personal learning approaches, enabling them to develop creativity skills. So we cannot improve or benefit from ICT if we don't think about that. So we must align our implementation of ICT curriculum and how we teach ICT by enabling an environment that is motivating, engaging, and stimulating creativity and supporting personal learning or personalized learning. We can also say another requirement is that ICT should be enabled when we have, or will be enabled when we have, or we allow independence in learning, development, in learning, development, collaborative and team working skills. So we are required to enable an environment that promotes those perspectives, that there is independence in learning and there is room to develop collaboration and develop teamwork. That's what we mean. At this point, when we call something requirement, it means it is part of enabling success. So if we forget about it and we only deal with technology, it means we are not going to achieve to be effective in enabling ICT for as a subject that is taught effectively in schools. As we do that, what is the ultimate goal? What is the ultimate goal? What are the specific aim or other objectives of ICT courses in the school? What is the end result that we expect? So one of the expectations or the aims is to enable children or every child to develop and use ICT skills in attainment of curriculum learning objectives. So we need or we are expecting to achieve a way that enables pupils or learners to develop and use ICT skills in attainment of learning objective, meaning they are going to be taught computer studies, and the same computer studies will help them as a resource in learning. That is one of aim. The other aim is to foster a child's confidence as he uses ICT, because they are going to have an engaging, enjoyable learning environment. So we want to foster children's confidence in using his or her knowledge. We also want to develop child understanding and practice and how they are supposed to make that environment safe. So we cannot forget safety, because ICT comes with some implication on wellness of the users and the people around them. So how are we going to enable that there is safe use? So we also want to enable them to overcome barriers of access to learning resources. This is very important. We are going to enable children or every child to overcome barriers of access to learning resources. And at this point, I want to go back a bit and introduce something that we were calling, I hope I have a short video I want to play. We are saying that ICT will, our aim is to enable a learning environment that supports children to access learning resources. Now, I want to play a short video clip about a simulated learning environment. So when we want to teach you how to conduct a certain process and there is no physical resources, we can always use digitized resources or environment to enable that happen. So how does that happen? So what I want to play as a clip is an example, is a short example of a simulated environment that now promotes or shows how ICT enables access to learning resources. We can have a short play. I hope my connection is okay. Then we listen, and then we see whether we can draw a short experience from it before I talk about it. So it is a YouTube play, and if it doesn't play, we can always play it later. So I think there is a problem with connectivity. So let's assume if it doesn't play, it will be an activity after the class. So we don't have to worry. But as I do that, I can explain the concept. So I wanted to illustrate how we are saying that ICT will enable us to create more or rather to overcome barriers to learning resources. So when you simulate an environment, the video is an example anyway, and we shall play it as we engage after class. It was to show if I was teaching you how to conduct a certain experiment and then I don't have that machine or that apparatus, I can simulate. like one of the things I wanted you to see in that environment, the video clip was a play on, or a caption of how internet works. How does the internet work? It works, or part of how it works is the satellite system that connects the signals. But because we cannot have resources every day to demonstrate that, a live demonstration, then we simulate an environment of how internet works until we're able to receive signals. That's why we can use Google email, Gmail, and we can do other things we do on social media through that process. So that is the kind of environment I wanted you to experience, and you play it so that you see you don't have to be on the space to go to where satellite systems are connected by engineers who do that, scientists, but you can see a simulated environment and you really get an engaging, immersive experience. So that is what ICT enables. So a simulated learning environment is courtesy of ICT. So we also have another aim is to enable a child to use ICT to support his or her learning effectively and creatively. So again, we have so many ICT devices that will support us learning creatively, effectively. We shall have, like now we are learning online. We have group discussion on the e-learning portal. So when we are not in school, we are going to be using ICT resources. Those systems are ICT or part of it, and then they are enabling you to learn more effectively, more creatively. You can be in a discussion group, you can be in a reflective journal, you can be in a chat room. So it is courtesy of ICT systems. So we also need, or we are also having the aim of informing the child's attitude or the learner's attitude regarding the role of ICT in the society. So as we teach IT, now that we are teachers especially, we are not teaching you just the technical know-how. What is the attitude? How are you going to support others? For example, in the time of a pandemic, how can you change maybe your learner's attitude to adapt better into ICT tool? To when they have difficulty adapting to technology, what kind of attitude will be the right one? How is it managed until we get to the right or positivity level in terms of the enabler of using ICT effectively without getting into something that we call techno stress, where people may use technology because they have been forced to use. So they remain not so much engaged, so much interested, but it's because they have to do it. So attitude can play that role. So when you have positive attitude, even when your network is not right, you'll still be motivated. You look for alternative resources, and as a teacher in the future, you'll also look for other mechanisms to support what you targeted to do with the ICT. If it is not working, there are also other mechanisms you can blend instead of giving up. So it's about attitude that we are talking of. So to support the development of social skills through cooperation and learning. So ICT promotes social learning through interactivity, and also problem solving through using tools that are engaging and that make your mind more critical. So what are the principles for teaching ICT in schools? What are the principles? So here we mention, as we begin our course, we want to integrate ICT towards enhancing learning. We had said something related to that, but one of the goal or another principle, what is the benchmark, is to improve or enhance teaching and learning. Again, we want to teach ICT in a way that it is promoting achievement of curriculum objectives. So we are not teaching it apart, but it should be part of achieving curriculum that is set out. as for ICT as a subject in this case. We also want to use ICT to address the key issues that may affect children with special needs, issues that may affect inclusivity, equality. So we use it having those perspectives in mind. We also want to promote the role of teachers in planning and assessing learners, so we cannot forget that we need to plan for that. Also, cooperation between home and school is very important. It's very important. And then the teachers need to assess the learning, both formally and informally, so that we know that what is happening, we are on the right perspective. So, as I conclude, I want to just sum up, being our initial lesson, I want to sum up by saying we have expectations because it should be engaging. So what I am saying, in this course, you'll be provided with resources, support resources beyond these lectures in the e-learning platform. But your active participation is expected, and then you'll be guided in that participation, whether online discussion, so to be guided. And we are also saying we also need to engage practically, because it's a practical unit in terms of what resources we access and how we approach our learning. So it needs active engagement and initiative. And then we shall be looking at how we engage with key concepts as we move on, and some software that are of importance as part of our tools in teaching computer methods. And then as you do this, feedback will be given, attend to it. That's very important. Also, engage with self-assessment exercises that are going to run through the course. So those areas are very important, and that was basically a way to refine our perspective. So at this point, I wish to conclude this session, so that as we move to the next session, we shall be more focused and knowing our expectations and also knowing what we are expected to do. So at this point, I wish to end this session, and then let's look forward to our progress in the next session. Goodbye. Thank you.